Yeah, so I'm just sharing my screen. So yesterday we saw the basic things in the Fusion application and what is Fusion and the other things. So today we will see it in the application. So I'll start over by adding the offerings that we wanted to see. So basically I'll add for the project called Tata SCM. So we have procurement, we have product management, and we have order management. So we will start over from the product management, that is to create an item and the other things. So after this, what we will see is that we will see the procurement, and also we will see the financial implication part of it in the procurement. That is from starting the requisition, purchase order, receipt, and we will see the invoice and this thing. Also part of this P2P flow. Okay, P2P is nothing but procurement to pay.
Okay, Arun.
Okay. Yeah, so as a first step, what I'll do is that since I have the location already created, so what I will do is that I'll create the inventory organization directly. So I'll say Tata inventory org. Okay, so this is related to this one, what do you call the finance related configuration. So as we saw yesterday, the configuration part, if you see, this will basically start from the financial modules. So from finance, once they complete their part of configuration, we will start our part. So we saw why we need the configuration. So maybe we will see it here in the application so that we will get a clear picture why do we need the configuration and the other part of it. But before that, to understand the flow of the configuration, basically to start from our financial modules. So if you see here, so I didn't create the business unit and the ledger, but I have utilized the one that is created by the finance consultant. So here for our test case or for the purpose of understanding, I have taken Tata Auto 03BU, and we are getting the ledger automatically based on the mapping that is done for this particular business unit, which is we in the enterprise structure, if you remember, we saw that under this particular primary ledger we will have the business unit 1 or 2 or 3. So here I have attached this particular business unit with the ledger in the financial module. So based on that configuration, I'm getting this business unit selection, and once I have selected this, primary ledger is being populated automatically. That is Tata Auto PL. Okay. Similarly, we can
Okay.
take the legal entity also. So legal entities basically we can have multiple, but in this case, if you see, I have only one legal entity under this particular ledger. I'm seeing only Tata Auto 03.
Okay. Arun, here we have
Yeah.
that management business unit.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
have one drop down, right?
Yes. Correct.
So that is created by a financial consultant, right?
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I have given the basic information about my inventory organization. That is, I have specified this is the name of the org, and I also attached my business unit and the primary ledger and the legal entity, where I'll get the inputs from the financial consultant. So after getting this relevant inputs, I have attached it here. So this location, if you see, I have selected based on the earlier configuration that we did.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just clicking next. So we will add the parameters to this inventory. So we have said to the system that this is the name of the inventory organization, but system will not understand how it should define an organization. So for this purpose, we are defining the inventory org parameters. So let's say next.
Okay.
So I'll say Tata inventory org. So that's it. We are done with our basic configurations. So here if you see, I have item master. So if you remember in our initial introduction, we saw that item master organization is nothing but the virtual organization, but whereas in real time we will not have it. So that is the reason I have taken the same org that I have created. Okay. So I have just taken and attached it. So that's it in this particular page. Yeah. So this is done. So let's query if the organization that we created is populating. Yeah. So this is getting populated. Yeah. So these are the parameters that we have given.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are done with our organization. I mean inventory organization creation. So the next step, what we will do is that basically we will try to add the item class and the other informations.
Okay.
Yeah, before that, let me create the sub inventory also.
That is a query around.
Yeah, this place we can basically query if at all, let's say I don't know where to create the item class. So I forgot the navigation. So what I will do is that I'll simply go here. I say
Okay.
percentage and I'll say whatever I remember. On the initial query, if you see, so I
Okay.
didn't remember this one, what do you call the sub inventory exact location. So what I did is that I queried with sub inventory where I didn't get the information. So now what I'm doing is that I'm just clicking on inventory. I'm just giving the parameter as an inventory, and
Okay.
I'm trying to get the list from there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll just explain on this page.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to create the sub inventory. So sub inventory is nothing but we saw that this is kind of an unit where under this particular unit I can place my orders, or I mean the items that I have manufactured or the item that I have procured, let's say raw material. So for the multiple purpose, I can use this sub inventory. So in this case, I'm using this as an staging sub inventory. So which means, let's say there is an semi-finished good, or let's say the partially manufactured item. So this I'm storing it here. So for this purpose, what I will say is that I'm creating this as an staging sub inventory. Okay.
Okay.
So here I have the material status, anyway we are saying active, and we have storage. So whether this is an unit to storage or this is an unit to receiving. So we can do either way. The difference between storage and the receiving is that receiving is the place where basically we will actually receive the items. Let's say I have four different inventories. So I wanted to store in a particular place, but whereas I will receive in only one particular location. So that is also possible. So in this case, just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, sorry, some office call.
No problem.
Yeah. So we were seeing the sub inventory. So here we saw what is sub inventory and the concept behind it. Like we have multiple units inside the manufacturing. So where we have assembling, packaging, and the other unit. So in this case, if we see, so this is meant only to store the semi-finished goods. Let's say I'll store it today and maybe I'll take it tomorrow. But the other case is that we have the receiving unit as well. So receiving unit is when actually we have the unit that will be specified only to receive the item. So after receiving the item, this will be moved to the specific inventory, the actual storage plant. So this case we can manage. So in this case, I'm just selecting this as a storage unit. Okay.
Okay.
And then if you see, we have the locator control. So locator control is something that, let's say I wanted to have the exact control over the item. I have maybe 10 racks. In a 10 rack, maybe I wanted to have the exact location of this item. So that also I can maintain it here. So based on the item level or the dynamic entry, so I can control the locator and the other things.
Okay.
And here I have mentioned the location. So this is not the virtual office. So virtual office is only our this thing, what do you call,
Item master.
yeah, item master. So that is the only virtual office. So this is real time office. So I have given the location. So before this I have created the location and I'm just attaching it here. Okay.
Okay.
And this is like the locator control. So I'm just selecting as it is. And here we have what do you call, the control. So how do we want to manage it? So let's say I wanted to have the asset items also stored inside this particular sub inventory. So in this case I can select asset sub inventory. Okay. And maybe if I wanted to group this particular sub inventory, so that also I can do it. So I can just simply say create and I can add a group and attach to it. So adding the group is nothing but, let's say I have an unit, I have 4 manufacturing unit. So under this one unit, let's say unit 1, under this I wanted to have different sub inventory units. So I will say create sub inventory unit and I will attach the inventory group, sub inventory group. So this way I will classify under one particular group. Okay.
Okay.
And then we have replenishment and the control over it. So replenishment is nothing but how do we want to basically refresh our stock. Let's say I wanted to have the minimum item control. I wanted to have, let's say, 1,000 quantities in my stock. So I will tell to the system that how I will manage my stock management. So I will say Minimat's planning. So in case of Minimat's planning, what will happen is that I will specify this is the minimum quantity and this thing. So based on that, system is going to say alert or something that a minimum quantity is 100. So below 100, system will not allow us to have in our controls. I mean in our stock. Okay. So that is the option that we have it here. So I'm just leaving this options open. Okay, and we have the lead days things. So lead days is basically used for our manufacturing. So let's say I wanted to have control over the days and the units. So take an example of steel. So I will take the order, and after taking the order, I'll do the manufacturing. And after this manufacturing, I'll have to deliver on the promised date. So in this case, I will have to have the design or the solution for this, where I will say pre-processing will take 3 days and processing will take 10 days and post-processing it will take 7 days. So I will just split it out. And I will say this is the lead time that I can deliver to you on a specific date. So this, if I want to mention it, I can mention it in this particular sub inventory control. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then here, if you see, we have the sourcing. So sourcing is nothing but, let's say I have the parent arc. So I wanted to link that. So I can link it from here. So let's say I wanted to source it to a particular organization. So from here, I can basically link it. Okay. Yeah. So that's what. So that's it in the inventory sub inventory configuration. So we have
Arun,
created the sub inventory called Tata staging.
okay.
Any doubt in this?
Yeah, the last sourcing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which organization we have to map around here?
We will have to map the inventory organization that we are creating.
Okay, Tata underscore
Yeah, that
INV
is
we
the
have
one.
created.
Yeah, yes, correct. If at
Okay,
all we wanted to have the source organization, that is how we will map. So we will create the inventory arc, and from there we will say that this is the organization that we wanted to use. So we can select it from the list of values. Or let's say I have a sub inventory arc already created. So I will source it from there. So what I will do is that after saving that particular records, I can say that this will be my sub inventory arc where it will be sourced to.
okay,
Okay. Any other doubt?
yeah, okay, Arun.
Yeah.
We can proceed.
Okay. Yeah. So we are not creating the locators actually, but I'll show the configuration part of it.
Okay,
So locator is nothing but to identify where exactly the asset is being stored. So in this case, if you see, we have row, we have rack and bin. So it will tell me the exact location of the asset. So this will have a strict control over our inventory management. So this will be used when we have the proper control. So there will be most of the cases where we will have rows, racks, and bins control, but whereas it is not strictly controlled. So I might place it here and I might change it the location here and there. So for those cases, we will not suggest the locator control since this is a dynamic movement. Okay. So when we have the strict control, so that is when we will implement the locator concept.
okay,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's it on the what do you call the locator and the sub inventory.
okay,
So the next step is to create the item class. So I'll just
and
yeah.
Arun, we have created a sub-inventory called BMW, right?
No, we selected that to create the new sub inventory. One
Okay,
minute. I'll just go back to that page. Yeah. So we have just created the sub inventory. So, but we are not linking to this particular BMW. So we are just utilizing it to create the sub inventory.
okay. So that is a child unit to the Tata. Is it like that, or
Yeah, this is child to the Tata.
that BMW?
No, BMW is not child to Tata. So for the ease of this thing, so I have selected this BMW and I am just directly creating this particular sub inventory. But it is not related to BMW actually. So we can select any unit. Like if you see here, so we can just say change organization, and I can say even 003, and from here I can create the inventories. If I want to create a new one, I can create it from here.
Okay,
Yeah, so this is how we will see basically. But this is not meaning that we will basically what do you call link it with parent and child combination. So that way we are not doing it actually.
Okay. So that is a independent unit, right?
Yeah, this is the independent unit. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine. Any other doubt?
No, we can proceed.
Okay. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the page. Basically, we will add the item. So for now, we haven't added any item. So what we will do is that, so we will go back to our initial configuration page. We will define the item class and we will add 1 or 2 items and we will try to attach it to our sub inventory and we will see the other parts, like we will try to create the purchase order and we will see the other parts of it. So I'll just navigate back to the Tata SCM implementation. So I'll just say manage item classes. So I'll just say add to
Okay.
create the new item class. So if you see here, we will have the root item class. So always this will be under the parent item class called root. So we cannot override our parent item class. So this is seeded by Oracle. So this is how Oracle maintains or controls the configuration. So the new item class that we are creating is under this particular root class. So let me say Tata FG. Okay. So what I do is that I'll say save and add details. So basically after adding this item class, we will have to give the few set of parameters to specify that this is how this particular item class will work. Because when we are creating the item, we are basically attaching the item class to the item. So this item will perform the activities or to will have the control over the application with the help of item class. So this will be our major configuration in terms of inventory management. So I'll just try to explain each one of it. So here we have the common information that we entered on the last step.
Okay.
And we can see that this is an root item class. And this we can say that item creation allowed. So which means this particular item class will allow me to create the items. And maybe if I want to default this particular item class, I can say yes. Or maybe if I want to override or something, I can say I can just say deselect this option. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And apart from that, here if you see, I have other options as well. So here I will say the item hierarchy. Here in this case, we don't have any hierarchy, because if you see here, so we created only one class and we are just attaching it here. So if at all we wanted to have hierarchy, so that is also possible. So we have something called class hierarchy. So using the class hierarchy, basically we can set up this thing. So we don't want to make it complex, so I'm just using the simple item class here. So
Okay.
we have said this is allowed to create item. And in bottom of the page, if you see, we have few categories. So this will specify that what kind of attachments can be allowed for this particular combination. So in this case, I have not restricted any of this. So I have just left it blank for all those categories. Maybe if we wanted to add the custom categories, so that we can add it from here.
Okay.
Okay. So that's it on the basic information. And we have few controls on the item management. So how do we want to manage our items? So for example, if you see here, so we have the number generation. So let's say I'm creating an item now. So how do I want to generate the number for the item? So when we are creating the item, so we will have two things. So one is the item number and the other one is item description. Let's say I'm creating laptop.
Okay.
So I will have maybe 10 different laptops. So how will I basically identify that this is the item that I'm looking for? So using the item number. So to generate this item number, I'm specifying it here. So how it should generate the number.
Okay.
Let's say I wanted to have it manually. So manually it is not preferred, because if you see, if you say manual, one user might say 1 2 3 and the other user might select or might give 3 4 5. So we will not have what do you call the sequence in this. So that is the reason we say that this is always the inherit from the parent. So if we don't have a parent, maybe we can opt for sequence generated. Okay. So
Okay.
let me say from 1000. Okay. And then here, if you see, we have description generation. So whether we wanted to have a description generated from the parent. So I'll just say user defined so that I can enter the description that what I wanted to enter. And then we have the new item request. So new item request is used for the workflow and the other configuration. So let's say I wanted to have the request to be passed to the respective manager. So I will have the hierarchy this way, that I have the inventory manager and I have inventory supervisor, and below that I have intent, and I'm the junior guy who will raise this particular request. So it will pass through to the all the level and it will reach to the manager, inventory manager, and inventory manager will approve it, and then the item will be created. So this can be enabled using this particular option called enable new item request. So I don't want to use this approval workflow. So I wanted to use only the manual part of it. So I'll just leave this open. I'm not selecting this option.
Okay.
Okay. And the next step that we have is that security. So the mandatory option that we have here is that if you want to give access to the particular user, so that we can give it here. So let's say I wanted to give access to the person called TrainT. So I'll just say person, I think TrainT is not created as an procurement agent, so that's why we are not getting TrainT. So for our understanding, I'm just selecting RN12. So RN12 is selected as our this thing. What do you call our procurement agent? So I'm just selecting the same option. So I'm just selecting the inventory arc that we created, Tata inventory arc.
Okay.
So I'll select January. So here we are trying to give access to create item in this particular item class. So anyway, we have enabled item creation checkbox. So this particular item class can create the items. But I haven't given any access to the user that this item class can be used, or so and so user can access this. So that I'm giving it here in this particular option called security. So here we have two things. One is to use it for group. So group is nothing but, let's say I have a group of 5 or 6. So for those cases, I can use that option. So here I don't want to use a group. So I'll say person. So this particular person will create item basically. So I'll say person and I will say name. So name in the sense that I have this user created as an procurement agent. So I'm able to get this particular name and I'm attaching it. So I'm linking the inventory arc here so that I will maintain the items only in this particular organization. Okay. And after giving this, if at all we wanted to perform few actions, so there are multiple options or the actions that is available. If you see here, so we have finished codes and the other options as well. So I don't want to restrict at this point. So what I will say is that I'll say create item class, create the attribute, everything. I'll say okay. So what I will do is that I'll just select all.
These are all a inbuilt function, Arun.
Yeah, these are all inbuilt functions. So we are not creating anything new. So we are just selecting it.
Okay. So only you have access, right?
Yeah, it's because I have given role only to this particular user to configure. So if
Okay.
I don't have a role called application implementation consultant, I'll not be able to see these options.
But you told you are a procurement agent, right?
Yeah, procurement agent is to create this particular access called item class. So to create the item class or to create the item, so I will need a person who has created as a procurement agent. But here, if you see, I'm not creating the item or this thing. Instead, what I'm doing is that I'm just attaching it to the person who has access as a procurement agent.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you see here, the login is TrainT. So TrainT doesn't have access because TrainT is an implementation consultant. So implementation consultant cannot be an employee. I mean, if we want to see for the test case, we can see because we can enable this particular user as an employee and the procurement agent as well. But in real time, we will not see those cases where we will enable the implementation consultant as an employee. So that is why we are not attaching the trainee here. Instead, we are attaching the Arun, who is the employee in the organization.
Okay. So train T is just a user, right?
Yeah, yes, correct. Just an user who will only configure and leave the office.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have given access to it. So basically this user can create the items and the other things.
Okay.
Okay, so then after this, so we have the transactional attribute. So if you want to specify anything, like if you want to specify any scope for this particular user, so that we can specify it here basically.
Okay.
Okay. So if I wanted to enable only for the pricing and the other things, so I can enable it here. So I don't want to restrict this. So at this point, so I'm just leaving this page as open.
Okay.
So these are all kind of an additional information. So I'm just leaving this option also as open.
Okay.
And this is like for the life cycle. So we have a product life cycle. So that is a different module by itself. So where we will have the design or the concept and the other things. So the product life cycle process will start something like this, where we will have the new item creation, or we will suggest the concept, or we will suggest the design. So based on this, the process will initiate, and after the approval, the manufacturing process will start. And after this, we will have the quality check, that is auditing and the other part. So after this item will create as an what do you call, the manufactured item as a finished good. So from there, it will move to the inventory where we will store the items, and this item will be in turn sent to the retail shop for the sales. So this will be the life cycle of the product. Okay,
Okay.
so in this case, we are using the standard one. So we are not adding or customizing anything. Okay, so here we have a few options. So I have a different item classification. So
Okay.
here I can say whether this is an finished good or this is an assemble to order. So assemble to order is something that where we will say that this item will be manufactured based on the order that we get, and we will attach our inventory org here. So I'll just say add, and I would say Tata. Okay, so I'm just specifying the primary unit of measure. So unit of measure is nothing but to basically define this is in the bots or this is in single quantity. So identify the item basically.
Okay.
Okay, so then we have the specifications. So here we will give more of an control. So if you see here, so we have the item structure. So item structure, if you wanted to choose standard, or maybe if you are using the planning, minimus planning and the other options, we can give it here. So we are not using the planning part. So I'm just leaving this open. And here we have costing enabled. So costing enabled is for the purpose of cost accounting and the other parts of it. So if we want to use this particular thing, we can use it. So this will be applicable where we have the bills of material. So what is bills of material is that, let's say I have an item. If you walk into a supermarket, so I will have kind of an combo. So this combo, I cannot break it down and purchase. Instead, I'll take as an one product. But whereas if you see in reality, so this particular item is not one single item. Instead, this is created with different components, but I will receive as an one single item as a combo. So this multiple components we call as an bills of material. So multiple material combines one single item we call as an bills of material. Okay. So that's what. So on those cases we can enable this particular option. And WIP is nothing but work in progress. So work in progress is nothing but our manufacturing unit and the other things.
Okay.
Okay. And if you want to mention the sub inventory, so that we can mention the sub inventory.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have this one, what do you call the other components of it. So we have inventory, we have purchasing, and the other related configurations. Yeah, so I have just enabled this as an inventory item, so that when I'm creating the item, system will consider this for the storage or the sales. Okay.
Okay.
And the other component that we have is purchasing and sales. So in purchasing, we can say that this is an purchased item, and approved supplier is nothing but where we have the regular communication with this particular vendor. So I don't want to go to that level, so I'll just leave this. So for now, I'm just giving purchased and purchasable. Okay.
Okay.
And if you want to give the default buyer, we can give it since we are using the different one. So I'm not leaving, I'm not opting for this option. I'm just leaving it blank.
Okay.
And we have pricing and the other controls. Let's say I wanted to price this, let's say 100. So I can give it here in the this particular tab called purchase price. So purchase price is something that how I purchase my raw material, and market price is something that are I'll be selling it maybe with 10% margin. So that I will mention it here as a market price. Okay. So outside,
Oh,
yeah.
here the market price is the purchase price, right?
No, purchase price is different from the market price, because if I'm only getting the items and I'm just selling as it is, so very rare case we will have the purchase price and the market price as the same. But most of the scenario, if you see, I will get an item cost. Let's say I wanted to manufacture the mobile phone. So in this case, I'll get the chip for one price, and I'll get maybe the what do you call the other components for different price.
Okay.
So here, this particular item called a purchase price is, let's say, 100 rupees. But when I'm selling to the other customer, I'll not sell for the same price. I'll sell for 110. So mostly if you see, we will not see a scenario where the purchase price and the market price is same. So most of the cases it will be different.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have outside processing. So outside processing is something that, let's say we are manufacturing this pipes, the gas pipes. So in this case, what will happen is that I'll have what you call the third party vendor to me. So I will manufacture few items and I will give outside. I will give to the other third party for the remaining manufacturing process, and from there again I will pick it up and I will assemble and I will make it ready for usage, to sales. Okay. So this particular action called in between the third party processing, manufacturing processing. So this we call as an outside processing, where we will have the multiple resources involved in it. So based on that, we will derive to a particular cost.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have the invoice option. So invoice option, we have multiple ways of matching it. We have two-way, we have three-way, and we have four-way. So when we say it is an three-way, it is with the receipt. Okay. And
Okay.
when we say four-way, so this is with inspection also. Okay, so we say receipt, and when we are receiving this particular item, we will enter the receipt, and after receipt, we will inspect and we will give our confirmation. And based on that, this invoice can be created. So this is part of it is related to our what do you call the finance part of it. But for the understanding purpose, I'm just saying that invoice
Okay.
matching is nothing but whether we are matching with the purchase order or with the receipt. So in this case, I say this is two-way and the invoice match option is purchase order. Okay. And then we have receipt routing. So receipt routing is something that we wanted to understand that how this particular receipt will be routed. So we have three options. So one is direct. So direct is nothing but I'm just receiving inside my inventory. So this process is done. So we will not have delivery in this case. But whereas for the standard, we will have the delivery also. So we will enter the receipt and also we will enter the delivery. But whereas in case of inspection, so what I will do is that I will also have the inspection involved in it. So I will enter the receipt and I will register my delivery, and also I will inspect and say that this particular items have the quality check control enabled and the audit is done and we can approve this particular item to be transferred to inventory department, I mean the invoice department AP module. So that is the thing in receiving. So I have enabled this one standard. So which means I will create the receiving and I will also create the delivery.
Okay.
Okay. And enforce ship to location. So when the ship to location is not enabled, so what system should do is what we are enabling it here. So whether we wanted to have this only as a warning message or how do we want to control this. So that's what we are stating it here. Okay. And then we have receipt date control. So how do we want to maintain our receipt date? Let's say the date is not open. Let's say we are not having open period. So whether we wanted to have this particular action to be rejected or warning. So in this case also, let me choose warning. Okay. So we system will basically validate the transactions that we are creating. So let's say I have created the PO. So I don't have the receipt for it. So let's say I have created it, but there are some this thing. So whether I want system to allow the substitute receipts. So if I want to allow, I can say yes. So I'm just leaving this option open since I don't want to use this. And we have a receipt for the unordered items. So unordered items is something that we haven't created the purchase order, but let's say I wanted to use this particular option to create the receipt manually. So I can enable this option here to create the manual receipts. Okay.
Okay.
And we have express transactions. So express transaction is nothing but to create it in the fly. So that's what. So that is what about this. And the quality control. So we are not seeing the quality control. So I'm just leaving this option open.
Okay.
So this is for our purchasing. So apart from purchasing, we have one final thing that is on the sales and order management. Okay.
Okay.
So this is nothing but whether I can use this particular item for the sales also. So I can use this for the sales and I can use this for our purchasing as well.
Okay.
So I have just enabled it, and apart from that we have few other options as well here. So I have enabled this for customer order and I have enabled it for the returns as well. Okay.
Okay.
And we have check ATP. So ATP is nothing but this is one component that we will use to verify the promised inventory. So let's say I have 100 quantity in my stock. So similarly, the other customer might be asking for some order and this thing. So I will do an initial check. So I'll say check ATP, and our system will give me the confirmation. So based on that, I can route it back. Okay, and I'm also allowing back-to-back enabled. So back-to-back is something that we will not have physical this thing shipment transfer. So instead, when I order, let's take in case of an Amazon. So if you see there,
Okay.
so this particular unit, what is manufactured by the manufacturer, this will not reach to the Amazon facility, but instead this will be placed and it will transit between multiple locations of the Amazon facility, and it will directly reach to the customer. But whereas other case, if you see, it will reach to the Amazon. Amazon basically will not store it, but in a rare case, I'm saying this scenario where
Okay.
this vendor will actually place after placing the order, the item will be stored in the Amazon facility. So from their inventory, actually it will be routed to this thing. What do you call the customer? So this way we are not having it. So for the cases of Amazon, we can say that this is an back-to-back order. So whether we wanted to enable the back-to-back order. So I'll say yes, we will have that also enabled.
Okay.
Okay. And then we have internally transfer. So internally transfer is something that, let's say we have two different intra transfers. I mean, we have two different sub inventories. So sub-inventory 1 and sub-inventory 2. So sub-inventory 1 will do specific action, that is to create the raw materials and shape it to a different finished good or the semi-finished good. So from here, the item will be transferred to the sub-inventory 2 for the second process. So whether we wanted to allow this, or maybe there are rare cases where this will be transferred between the units in order to sell this particular item in the given business units. So that is also possible. So here I say that internally transferable as yes.
Okay.
Okay, and for the order management, whether do we want to use it, what we are saying. So yes, we can say just yes here. And fulfillment, basically, how do we want to manage is what we are saying. So this part we will see it when we are seeing the order management and the other related module-wise configuration. So for now, we will just leave this option as it is. So we have created the required items for the template. Okay,
Okay.
so what we have seen in this particular configuration is that we saw that what is item class. So item class is a level of and control over our item creation. And here in this class, we have seen that this particular class will allow us to create the items. And we saw this security, and we saw a few components to it, and we saw the templates. So if you see, this template is the primary components, I could say, because I'm
Okay.
defining all controls under this. So if I want to stock any item, I'll come and have control over the inventory. And if I want to have control on purchasing, I'll again come back to this page and I'll see the configuration. Similarly for the sales order. So this will be my key component here. So we have created this item class with the template. So what I'll do is that I'll just save. I have saved this. So I'll save and close this. Okay, so now we have basically created the item class. So with this, we will try to create the items in our system. So before we create the items in the system, basically, so how do we know that system will allow me to create this item? So with the help of roles that we are defining for this particular item, if you see here, so I have this thing, what do you call, access to this particular role called product manager. So since I have already created this role called product manager, I'll be able to create the items in the front end or in the application. But we have this option to enable this role also. So I'll just show like where basically we will give this, I mean, attach this role. So the navigation is, I'll just say from tools, we will click security console. So if you remember yesterday's class, we saw the roles that we are creating there. So the roles and the user management.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll just say this thing. I'll say TrainT. Okay. So I'm just, I mean, I think I have the roles assigned already. I'll just cross check if the product manager is assigned.
Okay.
Yeah, so the product manager is already assigned to it. So I'll just save this record. Okay, so I have given access. So the next step is to give the arc that we have attached. So basically what we will do is that we will link the inventory arc that we created.
Okay.
So to do that, I'll say setups and maintenance. So I have business unit user data access. So I'll just click this option and I will give access.
Okay.
So our user is TrainT.
Arun, you have selected something like not selected product manager, right?
Yeah, not product manager. So before product manager, I'm giving product data stewards. So this will allow me to create this thing, the items, and also select the product manager to have control over the inventory transfer and the other things. some case it will take time to reflect actually. Okay, for now, what I'll do is that I'll take ALF. So ALF is the one I created for the testing purpose. So it
Okay.
was working fine. So I'll just take this option for now.
Arun,
Yes.
yeah, but actually, what we have to get in the security context value, Tata underscore INV.
Yeah, is correct. We should get data underscore this one. Sometimes what will happen is that this
Okay.
program will run for a longer time. So we will not get it immediately. So earlier we had this program called LDAP. So LDAP will basically sync the user with the roles that we are attaching. But in this case, it is happening, I mean, it is taking a bit longer time. So
Okay.
for our this thing ease of doing it, I'm taking the inventory unit that I have created earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arun, just a minute.
Okay, okay, no.
Hello.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, Arun. Joined.
Yeah. So we have given the access. So the landing page for this item creation would be here. So after we give access, we will have the product management tab enabled. After this, we will see this particular tile called product information management. So we
Okay.
click here and we will say create item. So before that, these are the what do you call, the high level information that we will see in terms of products that is created. Okay. So
Okay.
here we can see that supplier products. If you want to see the all status, we can see, or we can select based on the what do you call, the status of the item.
Okay.
Okay, and similarly we have the item and item class. So the other thing. So this is for the immediate actions if at all we wanted to take. So that we can get the high level information. If you see here, we have pending approval and the other things.
Okay.
Okay. So that's it on the dashboard. So we will directly go create an item. So I'll say create item. So in the access, since we have selected the ALF, so I'm selecting the same organization here, since we didn't get the report run for the Tata group that we created.
Okay.
I think there is an issue with item class.
Okay.
So what I'll do is that I'll check this and maybe we will reconnect by 2:30.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, fine. So we will connect 2:30. So I'll try to close this.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks a lot.